What's up, everybody? Theta is finally waking up all of this excitement with XRP, and Theta's like, "Hey, don't forget about me." Um, $1.90. Can you say that? I think that's where we're heading, up to $1.90 to $2. I believe that is the next stop for Theta after we have really, broken out of this range we've been in for a couple of months there. More like 3 months. So let's take a look here and see what's going on. Let's go down to the 4 hour chart. And well, let's first start on the daily. Okay, so we have a daily engulfing candle that is finally breaking above this swing high here. You can see this one barely got it, but now we have a lot more conviction with this candle here. We're also breaking above these two areas over here, which is what we want to see. So theta, we got almost about 4 hours, and let's say 4.5 hours till the daily close. And what we want to see is for us to close above $1.65. If we can close above $1.65, then I see no issue getting back up to here, right? You can see there's a little bit of a gap. As soon as we broke it, we fell right through it, right? And then if you sort of drag this here, and then we'll put the other one, the other line right there, there's kind of like a little bit of a gap here. And I remember talking about this quite a bit, waiting for the moment we would actually go up and fill it. You can see when we broke above this line, we sort of went straight up. When we broke below the line, we went straight down. And now you can see we're breaking above it right now. So I think we're going to get up here rather quickly. It doesn't mean today or tomorrow, but I would say soon, maybe sometime this week even, we can see $1.90. And then from there, maybe a little bit of a pullback or a retest of $1.65, kind of flag out a little bit, right? And then make your way back to, what is that? Right at about $2.50, right? So you can see we have this sort of box right in here, right? So as soon as we get through this line, right, then we have to work through this, right? And I think that'll actually happen rather quickly. Being in the retracement levels is always a risk because you don't know if it's going to break through it. But I think Theta will have no problem breaking through simply because it's one of the stronger coins. And then also, I believe alt season is on the way. And again, a rising tide raises all ships, and Theta is no exception. So, and when Theta gets going, it gets going pretty quickly. So, yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we've been talking about for a very long time, which is, really since back here at 64 cents. So right here is, for those who are new, this is where I started talking about Theta and the whole idea behind Theta, right? Since we saw this Wyckoff structure, was to get a retracement, right? So since 64 cents, we've been calling for a retracement. We got it. We came all the way up, and we ran right into this sort of retracement block, this huge area of resistance. I was kind of hoping we can get up a little bit more, but it is what it is, right? So we essentially broke out of this thing, and we went flying to the upside. And then from there, right, we had a complete crashing structure all the way down, and we back tested. And then from there, we were building an accumulation range on top of the area we broke out of. So, well, not technically on top, but, you know, sort of in this area, right? Sort of gearing up and ready to launch. So now what is the next move, right? So now that we've recapped and we've got everything pretty well, what's the next move? Well, getting back to the retracement levels of this wave, right? We saw ADA, for example, it's already back at the top. There's a lot of coins that already made their way back. Well, not too many. There's still a lot of them that are still needing a lot of help. But essentially, we want to see the price get back to about $2.70 plus. So once we work through 270 through maybe 350, after we accomplish that, then I see no issue with us coming back into that range between $3.80 and almost $10, right? So let's get through here, work out the kinks, get back up in here, maybe play around a little bit, and then eventually get to that level. So it'll be interesting to see how it moves. Does it move fast? Does it move slow? Does it move corrective? Does it move impulsive? Right? That's always the challenge, is to figure out what the wave structure is. So when we look at the daily chart, we can see, right, we had 3 up, we had 3 down, and now it appears that we're having 5 up. 1, 2, let's get 3, 4, and 5. I would like to see something like that. So yeah, we might have only, this was wave 1, this is wave 2. We could be in wave 3 right now. And wave 3, let's see if we can measure that out here. So let's see here. Let me take a trend-based fib extension from the bottom of this wave to the top, back down to the bottom. And we can see a 1618 extension of $2.30, and above that we have about $3. So the way I would sort of look at it is we have 1, 2, let's come up here and get 3, 4, and then let's come up and get 5. Something like that, right? So let's get rid of that, and we can put sort of a little range up in here, and this is our wake up range. As soon as we break that range, I feel like this thing's gonna really start to wake up, and we're not even there yet, right? We're not even at the beginning yet, right? I mean, we still got a lot of work to do before we even get to say it's in a actual alt season or a bull run. But yeah, I mean, we have 3 up, we have 3 down. That's an A, that's a B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get a C, right? So from there, this is where all the magic happens. What happens here? So that's going to be the big tell, right? What we want to see happen is we want to flag out a little bit, get a nice 3-wave pullback. There's your 1, get a 2, and then fire up to the upside, getting that wave 3. So it's going to be interesting how it all plays out. But anyway, that's really about it for Theta. Again, we've broken above the downward resistance line, right? We broke above, we back tested, right? We held it, and now we're firing back up. So this is sort of our range in here, and we still haven't quite broken it yet. We could see we pulled back a little bit. Theta's up over 20% today. So yeah, it's a good day for Theta. And it doesn't look like it. It just looks like a little bit of a move. But let's zoom in here and see. So this structure, obviously we had a Wyckoff structure in here, right? We came right back down to support. We had the liquidity grab. So this has Wyckoff written all over it. And we were talking about Wyckoff going back to here. When we started breaking out, I said it was a little bit less likely since we're starting to really clear this high. But then as we started chilling out here, then I started turning back on the possibility. We came down, we flagged out a bear flag. You can see we're flagging out in a bear flag. And then we had this 3-wave drop that took that liquidity. So then from there, we fired up rather quickly. You can see we had sort of this. So there's a couple ways we can count this. Number one, this is basically like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a truncated fifth. I don't like it a lot. Another way is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't even really like the way that looks. Just proportional. The fourth is so big compared to the 2. So if we look a little bit closer, I'd much rather say that this is just a wave 1, right? And then we have a wave 2. And this, look at this. We 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a 3-wave pullback. That's another 1. That's another 2. And now let's see if we can go up and get wave 3, 4, and 5. Right? So that's the bullish way to look at it, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So what's another way? Well, what if we have a more complex correction? So this is still 1. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an A. And then we come up 1, 2, 3. That's a B. And then we have to come back down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe a C. Maybe it's a running flat. We sort of build a little bit of a base here for a wave C. And then that's when we start the mega wave 3. Right? So A, B, C. Some type of wave 2. Right? It could be here, it could be here, or it can even be an expanded. I don't think it's going to be an expanded. I think it's most likely going to be a running flat or a regular flat, if that's what it is, right? So again, either this is a B wave or this is the 3rd wave. But if it's the 3rd wave, we're going to want to see some evidence, right? Because if we look, let's take a trend-based fib extension from here to the top of there, back down to the bottom. You can see we already cleared the 1-to-1, but we're getting a little bit held up in here, which is okay, right? It doesn't go straight up, but we want to see a $1.91. Look at that. There's the $1.90 number again. So if we can get to a $1.91, then it tells me that this is more like a 3rd than an ABC. It's more like a 1, 2, 3. So the higher the better, right? Because then it decreases the probability of it having to be a flat, which is something like that, right? So be careful with that. That could totally happen. So if we draw a line right about there, right there, that's our little range that we want to stay above. So if this pulls back, let's hope that we can stay above here. We got a cup, we got a handle, right? So if we measure that, cup and handle, approximately, conservatively, you can see we haven't quite nailed it yet. And again, that's also about $1.90. So let's even zoom in further. Let's go to the 15-minute chart here. So you can see very clearly, let's go to this chart now because it's cleaner. You can see very clearly that we're bottlenecking. I mean, look at this. This wave structure is very challenging because it's kind of like it's just kind of like this. You can't really count it. So we have to look at it like we're bottlenecking. We fire to the upside, and then we're sort of bottlenecking. you know, and then usually what happens is you break to the upside. But if it's some kind of flat, then we can get something like this and come back down to here before firing up, right? So that trend line will break, get some liquidity in here to take it up, because we're up 20% with Theta, right? And we just had a pretty nasty candle here, and it's still kind of trying to bleed. So would I buy it right this moment? Probably not. But if I'm dollar cost averaging, I would have bought the 3-wave pullback, right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a 3-way pullback, right? And you can see when we were down in here, we started, curling back to the upside. That would have been the perfect spot to buy the dip. All right, so looks like we're dumping pretty good now. So we'll see. Let's zoom in a little bit further and see what we have here. Yeah, you can see, right, how we sort of move up. It's kind of like chutes and ladders, man. It's just kind of like one of those things. That's why I wouldn't even try to time the smaller time frames. I would look more at the larger time frame, but just to give us a little bit of an idea here. I see a 3-wave move there. So let's see if that's all we need, right? Or maybe we get something a little bit bigger, right? Because again, we went up 20%, but then also it doesn't look finished to me. It looks like it kind of fired up, and then it's kind of like just, higher highs, higher lows, right? Maybe a little bit of a correction, but then ultimately I see more upside for Theta. So, and then also Theta Fuel. Let's take a look at Theta Fuel. It's going to be exactly the same thing. So here's Theta Fuel. Let's start with the weekly. Very bullish. I mean, it actually looks even a little bit more bullish than Theta in some ways. Simply because it's more tight. It just feels like it's a tighter range, and it feels like it could have a bigger reaction. But, it's hard to tell. So yeah, we have obviously our bull market, our bear market. We built our range. We broke out of the range, right? We came down, and now we're back testing the range. We're consolidating, accumulating above this range, right? So that tells me that obviously we got accumulation. So the next step is to get back to the retracement levels. Boom, boom, boom. A 3-wave move to the upside. Even if this was going to go down, we still need A, B, C, right? So we still need more upside. And then from here, this is where all the decision gets met. I have a feeling we'll break out, but it might not be that easy. It really depends kind of what Bitcoin's doing at the time. But yeah, it looks very bullish. But it could also be a flat, right? This, when you get 3 up, 3 down, and 5 up, that could be an expanded flat. And then you go down, right? Same with Theta, same with all the other ones. The reason I don't really talk about that yet is because I haven't seen anything that would really tell me that's what it would be doing, unless we fired up and then we got a strong reversal back and we actually broke below basically this area here. We don't want to close below that. We need to stay above that at all cost. So let's look at the smaller time frames here. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see a 3-way pullback, and then I see another. Maybe we're in that 3rd wave, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? Maybe we back test with wave 4. But so far, all I have is a 3-wave move. So I have 3 up, I have 3 down, and then I have 3 back up. So we need this to turn into 5. Otherwise, it's going to be a WXY. It's going to be shallow. So, you know, I want to see how this week closes. If we close above the range, then this thing can accelerate pretty quickly. Let's take a look at one more time at the weekly here. Yeah, so the weekly candle, as long as we close above that line on a weekly scale, which we're doing, we still got a whole week to go, so we'll see how it plays, but that's the line we need to stay above. Also, we have this line over here. So that's another area I would like to see. So since we came from all the way down here, we fired all the way up, and then now we have some resistance, I would expect it to kind of maybe chill out a little bit, maybe consolidate a little bit, go sideways, and then sort of break out. Right? It could happen fast. It could take a little bit of time. But ultimately, the target for Theta Fuel in the getting back into the retracement levels is between 10 and 12 cents. Right? So right now we're at about 7 cents. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we got about 5 cents left. Before the real fun starts, which means when we break out of that, it's going to be very interesting. So as soon as we break this retracement level, I can totally see us getting very fast back to, let's see here. There's one line. There's 2. Right between that zone, between 13 and 23 cents. So, and then from there, right, we have one more to go, which is that 62, more like, I would say 41 other than 62. 62 is really not so relevant. So 41 cents is definitely relevant, right? And now you're talking all-time highs, right? If you break 41 cents on Theta Fuel, you're going to be flying. I mean flying to the upside. And where can you go? How high can you go? Well, let's look at it on linear. Break above 41, 47. You're looking at $1.20. That's a long ways away from where we are now. $1.20. So what is that percentage wise? Approximately $1.20. That's about what, 15x. That's a pretty big move there. 15x. Yeah, 1500%. Yeah, that's a 15x move. So and then on the high end, we're looking at $1.90 to $3. So between 2 and 3 on the high end, and then between 1 and 2 in the sort of the lower end, maybe the middle, right? And if we go up to log, and this is only one wave here. This is one wave. This is wave 2. So wave 3 should hit the 1618, which comes in at $5.40. Wow. Can you imagine that? $5.40. You're all busting out your calculators right now, trying to figure things out. Yeah, $5.40 is definitely in play. And from that's about as high as I would go for Theta Fuel. So let's see what that is. That's about that's 7,000%. So that's, I would actually be more conservative and say maybe Theta Fuel has a 50x potential. 50x. I mean, 7,000 is what? 70x? So we're still a little bit a ways away, but alt season starts when we break this. When we break that zone, you know, you can see we've been accumulating in here for a while. So once we crack through it, I mean, we're not even there yet, but once we crack through it, that's when the alt season starts. And I can see a big wave 3. Let's do another measurement on Theta Fuel from the bottom to the top, back down to the bottom. So you're looking at $1.20, maybe $1.30, up to $2, up to $3. So be really at $1, $2, and $3. So it's pretty easy to remember. And then on the higher end, so if Theta Fuel wanted to do the same move, like a 1-to-1 extension, you're looking at $27 Theta Fuel. Now, that sounds absurd. I just, you know, I don't even know how that would be even possible, but maybe it will. I got to look at let's go to Coin Market Cap real quick, and let's take a look at a couple things. So there's only a total supply of 6.75 billion. I'm not sure how Theta Fuel entirely, I mean, there's no max supply, right? But maybe someone in the comment section can let me know. Is this the actual total supply and the max supply? But I don't think I mean, so the good thing about Theta Fuel is, you know, there shouldn't be as much inflation. I mean, there shouldn't be any inflation because we have a burn rate, right? I mean, Theta Fuel is used like gas for the network. So if we're already at a total of 6.75 billion and that's what's circulating, then that's pretty cheap. That's really cheap. So I can totally see it. And we're only at a $500 million market cap. So yeah, man, I think at least a couple dollars would definitely be in play, right? I mean, maybe $5 at the high end. So I'd have to do a little bit of math to see what the market cap would be. So in order to hit $5, you would need a market cap of $33.75 billion market cap for Theta Fuel. Now, do you think that's believable? I mean, maybe in the future. I mean, it's only about $600 million right now. So that would be a little bit too high. I'm just basing it on the market cap. Let's say we have $2. That would be about 13 billion. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking around that $2 area. So on log scale, that would probably be around about $2.77 to $1.75. All right. But here's the thing. It could go way higher than that. We just have to look at, again, we need to see the wave structure. If we got a clear wave structure, for example, let's say we have 5 waves up and we have a 3-wave pullback, I can then measure this to get a more accurate target of what that next wave will be. So, you know, we should wait a little bit to get a much more accurate target because these are some pretty big ranges in here. But putting market cap away, because I've always been skeptical about that, a 4.23 extension is $3. All right, so $3, you're looking at $20 billion market cap for Theta Fuel. I mean, yeah, I can see that, you know, in due time, right? So, but again, we'll examine more of the wave structure later on. Another reason I'm very bullish on Theta Fuel and Theta is because it is printing a pattern I'm very familiar with and that will be our beautiful W pattern, or our double bottom, right? So we come down, have a little bit of a retrace, right? Come back and then fire up. Same thing here, right? Come back up, come down, make a higher low, and then start firing up to the upside. So yeah, I think we have some good looking technicals here for Theta and Theta Fuel. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is still chilling at 90,000. That's good. We didn't get violently rejected. We're just kind of consolidating, which is a good thing. It doesn't look too bullish right now. It looks like it's kind of struggling here, right? The way I see it is, it looks like we have three. So maybe we have three down, we get three up, and then maybe we get three back down. Some kind of flat, right? You can also look at it like we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3. So it'd be like it would be a flat, right? And then we go up. So be on the lookout for that. But as long as we're kind of chilling in here, we can look at it from kind of like an ascending or like a bullish pennant, and we kind of broke out. We're kind of just, testing it a little bit. If we can kind of go sideways here for a little while and kind of creep up here, then I can see it breaking out, meaning that all we needed was this sort of this three-way pullback here. So boom, boom, boom. That was a flat. That's all we needed. Here's a 1. Flag out for a 2, and now we're starting to go up for that third. Right? So those are the two different ways we can look at Bitcoin. All right, let's keep moving here. Is it nearly finished? I mean, there's a good chance, right? I mean, if this is a wave 1, right? We should, you would think, start to flag out in here at least a little bit before firing to the upside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you would imagine we would, flag out a little bit before heading higher. Now, how deep is that? How far can we go down? Or is it even finished, right? Because it might not even be finished. This right here could be, for example, we have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that's your 1, that's your 2, and this is a 1, this is a 2 of the third, and now we're about to go up into the third of the third, right? So those are a couple of different ways you can look at it. But instead of trying to figure out exactly, the main thing is, where's the overall direction? And I think the overall direction is up. So regardless if we have to pull back or not. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at here. Same thing with Bohm. It's kind of just chilling here, waiting for some bids. I like it because it's not a totally overpriced meme coin. And also because, it's in a wave 2. And now it looks like we're in a wave 3. Whereas, for example, Dogecoin's already in its, when you look at it zoomed out, it's already in its 5th wave. So, it's low market cap as well. Let's take a look at XRP. So XRP fired up to the upside, as we know. Looks really good. We're back into the retracement levels here, over here, right? We're battling in here. So we might need to, play around a little bit, consolidate before having that next move higher. You can kind of see here we pulled back just a little bit before going much higher. So maybe sometime in the not too distant future we get that, or maybe even it's starting now. Let's take a look at the small time frames. It looks a little bit bearish, Look at that. That looks bearish. And when I mean bearish, I mean short term, right? Because look at this. You got an A, you got a B. It looks like we're going to get a C. I mean, that looks like the shape that I would like to see, that I would expect, right? But it could be different variations of that. For example, let's look at a smaller time frame here. So we know that we have 3 down. We know that we have 3 up. And now it looks like, we're getting either 3 or 5. But what we could see here is another running flat, which means maybe the low's already almost in here, right? We have 3 waves down. We have to look at it like that too. So we have a rise, crash, retrace. We go reaccumulation, sideways, we break out. Kind of like a running flat. Boom. Whoops. Boom, boom. And then we kind of go sideways a little bit and then go. So you can also get a regular flat, which comes down here, or you can get sort of an expanded flat. But either way, I think upside's coming. We just have to track this wave here. It could be finished now, right? Because we could have a W, this could be an X, and that little thing there could be a Y. Although it looks kind of small, so I wouldn't be so sure about it. If we start kind of building a base in here, then I'll be a little bit more comfortable with saying that, and then I would look for more upside. So XRP, you're kind of in that little flag here. Boom, boom. It just looks like it needs to do that. All right. So let's look at Filecoin. Filecoin looks like it's, consolidating above its Wyckoff range, right? We built that range, we broke out, and now that's that Wyckoff range, that consolidation phase before you blast off. For example, if we look at it through Wyckoff, you can see boom, 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 right? Then you fire up, then you play around in here. You fire up, then you play around before you shoot up. So that's what I'm thinking here. We're consolidating before we break out, right? So I think this is just the beginning of what's to come. You know what I mean? So can't get too far ahead of ourselves. I mean, look at this. I'll give you a great example here. When we look at Filecoin on the 3-day, you could see a very clear picture here. We have a 1, and then we come down, boom, 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 boom. We build a base, and then same thing here. We come back up and another 1, and then even the same kind of move down. See how it kind of does that, hits here, and then boom, flushes the low, hits there, boom, flushes the low, right? And then it kind of builds this base in here, and then it builds the base, and then you break out, and then you break out. So we have a 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's go. All right. That doesn't mean it's going to happen today or tomorrow or even next week. It could take time. It takes some time. So we'll just have to look out for it. Matic seems like it needs to kind of get away from the scene of the crime. That was a nasty fall. And Matic didn't have any base, right? It didn't create a base, right? So if anytime you crash, you want a base so you can consolidate away from that, the scene of the crime. You want to, get away from it. Anytime you have sort of a V shape, a lot of times you come up and then you flag out like long, right? Before going up, right? You get a big 1, you get a big 2. So, that's kind of how I would look at it. But all in all, it's very bullish because look at that 3-wave move. Look at that 3-wave move. You got a 1, and you got a 2. So we're right at the bottom here. So dollar cost averaging in a spot position, I see nothing wrong with that. I see upside above $1.50, above, even above $2 for Matic. I think it's severely undervalued. For some reason, I don't know, maybe there's something internally wrong with it that I can't see, but yeah, I think it'll do well. So anyway, not financial advice. I could be wrong. It could go to 0 and you can lose everything. So, just be aware of that. Tia is still building its base and it's taking its sweet time. So honestly, I thought it would be a little bit better by now, but I'm still kind of holding out for it. Simply because I just like the way it looks. I like the way it looks. We got a nice 1. We come down for a 2. We built the base, right? But if you look at the base, you can see a shoulder, a head, a shoulder. It looks like we have an inverse head and shoulders. Another thing too, when you look at the base, is we have a pretty nice impulse and a beautiful 3-way pullback. I mean, that is a textbook 3-way pullback. And then what the hell is that? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, okay, now what is it doing? It's kind of like trying to figure out what it wants to do. So to me, it looks like a 1. This looks like a 2, and this looks like a 1. This looks like a 2. So we could be firing up very soon for Tia. Maybe. Right? Maybe. But that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, we have an A, and this comes up, and we had a B, and now we have to come all the way back down for a C, or even maybe a running flat for a C. So, yeah. So it would be like a 1, 2, and then we would have a 1, 2, just like how that was a 2, right? Of the third wave. And then we would get 3 of 3. So, the reason I'm talking about it too is because it's undervalued. I mean, a lot of these coins are already broken out, right? Like if you look at ADA, for example. I mean, ADA, here's the base that we were just looking at with Tia. And Tia was like right in here. So that's what I'm saying. Like, would I buy ADA or would I buy something else that hasn't completely went crazy, right? I mean, look at this. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 5-wave move with ADA. So we got to be a little bit careful here. I wouldn't be buying it. I actually sold it. I actually took my profit. You say, well, why would you do that? It could go a lot higher. Yeah, but for a hodl position. But for a trade, anytime you're at the bottom of the range and you shoot right up and you have 5 waves and you're right back at the swing high, I mean, take your damn profit. And then, let's wait for an opportunity. If I can get a 3-way pullback, if this thing can flag out and look nice to me, right? We have a cup. Maybe we get a little bit of a handle here. And then we can go. I would love to see that handle play out. Or it can be a jerk and just fire up and say, whatever, I don't care. You know what I mean? Do I think that's going to happen? I mean, it's hard to tell under crypto bullish environments, right? Because, I mean, look what it did last time. It really didn't give you a chance. You had like a 1, 2. You had a massive 3, a 4, and a 5. Right? But that wave was very short-lived. So, but give me at least a little something, So, for example, it has to be bigger. So 1, 2. That 2 is in the same degree of the 3. So it has to be bigger than those 2 corrections, right? So if it's more like this, that would be better. That's what I would look for. So, XDC, same thing. It's got very linear wave structure. It's very linear. Look at that. It's just very straight. So this could come up like this, and then we get like a C, A, B, C, and then go. But I'm really not interested at the moment. IMX is one of those that is still in its base. It received a Wells notice from the SEC. We'll see if that litigation goes forward, or maybe the new Trump administration says, you know what, I want you to get rid of all these, it's regulation by enforcement, right? So basically they're just, they're trying to pin everybody down and say, give me your money. And it's just not right. It's not fair. So hopefully they can clean out the SEC, drop all these ridiculous lawsuits, and focus on protecting investors instead of going after American or otherwise blockchain companies, right? But yeah, IMX, we got 3 up, we got 3 down, and it looks like it looks like we have a 1, 2. Maybe we're gearing up for that 3rd, and then a 4, and then a 5. Right? Where versus like ADA is up here. Theta is like right there. IMX is down here relative to each other, right? So you could look at it as a bad thing, like, oh, it's weak and it's not going to do nothing, right? Because you do want to buy strength. You don't want to buy weak coins that have weak rallies. You want to have things that have strength. This has not proven itself to be strong, unless you look back in time, and then you can see it was very strong. I mean, we went from 50 cents all the way up to almost $4. So not bad at all. Let's keep moving here. ZRV, man, I missed it again. I kept telling myself, I'll get the next dip. I'll get the next. It comes up, it resets. It comes up, it resets. It comes up, it resets. We have a little bit of bearish divergence here on the chart. But look at that wave. You have a 1, you have a 3-way pullback, right? And then you just fire up to the upside. So I would like to see, if this is a wave 1 of 3, I'd like to see a little wave 2 of 3 before going higher. So I don't know, maybe a little bit of a consolidation phase is on the horizon. XRP looks like it needs to. ADA looks like it needs to. But that doesn't mean all the other ones, right? Because you have to understand, coins rotate. Certain like the meme coins were going crazy like a week or 2 ago. And then there's, you got the DeFi, and then you got the layer 1s, or so it kind of like rotates. So, we just have to look out for the next rotation. Aave might be one of those because it's been very quiet. It's kind of creeping up, and these creepers, you got to look out for them, right? You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have an ABC, and then it kind of quietly came up here. It flagged out a little bit, so maybe we can see a relatively big move coming in the not too distant future for Aave. Or it's just going to continue grinding up slowly, kind of just moving slowly, right, until we get to the top, and then it starts to accelerate. After all, Aave was the biggest gain, I think it was. This thing went up incredible. This was the biggest one. I think it is 30 cents oh my god. It was from 30 cents all the way to basically $700. That is insane. That's almost a 300x, right? I think that's what it is. Or no, that's a 2000x. Wait, 230,000% is, yes, 2030 or 3. I gotta look. I don't know, but it's a lot. It's a lot. I know 100% is 1x, 200% is 2x, 300% is 3x, 1,000% is 10x, right? So, man, that was insane. And again, it had a pretty shallow retrace. It had a monster, I would say that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, shallow 4, building your base, sell side of the curve, buy side of the curve. Yeah, we could get a big 5th wave here coming from Aave. What's the market cap? Of Aave, I think it's... Okay, so it's $2.5 billion. So, you know, I could see it getting up to that $30 billion area pretty easily. So, all right, let's move on. I took a trade last night. I bought some render as it was breaking out. It looked pretty good to me. So it was actually struggling a little bit. It wasn't a really clean breakout. It was more like a hit to the high than an actual break. But I think it's probably finished now, and I think it needs a little bit of a pullback, because we have to understand most of these waves, right? Most of them have, you know, 3 up, 3 down, and then they fire to the upside. So it's not likely for them to just keep going. What's more likely is for them to kind of flag out a little bit and then go. If we can get something like that, then it would be a better entry for me. So, you know, and we also have massive bearish divergence here. I mean, that's massive, right? But, yeah, we kind of broke out a little bit, didn't really make too much, but it kind of hit the high, and now we're sort of resting. So here's what I'll say. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? But we only have 1, 2, 3. If we can get 4 and 5, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and a completed 5th. So what I'll say here is, if, you know, render was in this box, right? It broke out, and now it's back testing, it's consolidating. If it can stay and hold above that line, then maybe we can have another hit to the high for a 5th wave. Or maybe this was the 1 and this was the 2, and now this is a 1, 2, this is another 1, 2, and now we're about to go on the 3rd. But, you know, it really didn't have much time to kind of consolidate. So, I mean, when you look at the 2-day chart, it's basically straight up. And you can see we're right in this resistance in here. So I would expect a little bit of struggling before we can clear through that. So Shib, you know, Shib's been pulling back for a little while now. It still looks, I don't know, I'm not sure about it at the moment. You know, it started off with a beautiful 3-way pullback. We had a 1, a 2. So I was really hoping that this could be like the 3rd, you know, and get us back up to here. But it kind of just mulled over. So when we look at the smaller time frames, what we can see, you know, is we had, right, obviously the 3-way moved down. So, and then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 1. And then maybe this was a 2, and then now we're supposed to go for a 3. But that doesn't look like it's right. So maybe this was an A, this was a B, and now we're coming down for a C. So a 1 and a much larger 2 before we go up, right? So that would be A, B, and C. So let's get down here. Let's see if we react to that. But yeah, that's what I got for Shib. What else could it be if that's wrong? Well, we got 3, and then maybe this is a very shallow 3, and then we get, you know, maybe 5. A, B, C, and then go. That's definitely an option as well. So, all right, ICP. You know, ICP is still in its range like all the other ones. It's kind of battling the top part of the range. You can see we had some bearish divergence there. So let's see either a running flat like A, B, and then maybe like a C and then go, or if this is a 1 and this is a 2, then this is the beginning of the third, which is a 1 of 3. Now we're flagging out for 2 of 3, and then eventually this thing's going to go up into the third of the third, which I believe will happen. I believe it will happen. It actually looks a little bit decent right here. You know, we kind of pulled, we broke the top, we pulled back, and we're kind of creating a little bit of a base. So the 10-minute chart, you know, we got a little bit of a head and shoulders here. So I would watch out for that. Yeah, it's going to be about tracking the small time frames. So if we can clear through the retracement levels of this, it would look better. But honestly, I would much rather it just kind of give us one of these. A clear, identifiable three-way move for me to feel good about. You know what I mean? So, all right, Axelar. Looks like, let's zoom out first. Looks like Axelar. It looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, so the difference between Axelar is it's been flagging out. It's been flagging out since, you know, late October, right? So it's already been flagging out for over about a month, right? So that's why I kind of like it a little better. You know, so what Axelar did is what I want to see. You know, let's see, did Theta do it completely? Not completely yet, but maybe if it gets up here, maybe something like that, right? Or like ICP, right? Where we get up here and we have something like that. So, sort of to reset that momentum. But yeah, I think it looks great. Let me see the smaller time frame here. So it looked like a diag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have 3 down, and then maybe this is 3 up, and then you get 3 back down. So a larger move like that before firing to the upside. Either that, or this three-way move is finished. This is a 1, this is a 2, and now we're about ready to rip soon, right? It could also be maybe like a triangle, A, B, C, D, E, something like that. But yeah, I'll be interested to see if this can come up and break the top. It could also be a flat too, like we have 3 down. This could come up and tag the top here, and then you have to come down here and do some kind of running flat, right? So it's always tricky, especially during times like this. But what we have to take from it is what it's doing. It built a base, it broke out, and now it's flagging out, so the overall direction should be up. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Congrats, Theta. $1.73. I mean, man, took a while, but we did it, right? And I think this is still only the beginning for Theta. Let's look at the small time frame one more time. 10-minute chart. Maybe we're starting to come back up. Look at that. We're revved up. We had a hit to the low. Maybe this is going to kind of start to creep back up and maybe get us to $1.90 sometime soon. But again, it did go up 20%, so be careful. What else? I think that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.